Now you might wonder, what are we going to talk about regarding this compressor? Well, it's quite simple. Is symptoms of a compressor being faulty. But first, we need to discuss how this is supposed to be wired and what would happen if, for example, we have a faulty capacitor. Okay, so before I bore you too much, there's a way of testing if the compressor windings are okay. You do a resistance test across the windings, but just to be very quick, you want to establish which one is start, which one is run, and which one is common, and do a continuity test. So common to run, my lowest resistance, 14 ohms. Common to start would be my middle value, which is 16. The sum should be between the start and the run. So it's quite simple. 30, sorry. So we have 30 ohms. This tells us that the windings are in balance. Then what I can do to test this compressor is see if it's down to earth. We're just gonna take from the pin to the earth. I have nothing, I have nothing, and then I have nothing. So that means the windings are not grounded. If they're down to earth, don't try and start the compressor. It's faulty. But this type of compressors, you'll find them on small under-counter fridges, either fridges or freezers, just because their cooling capacity is quite small, but they are good for what they need to do. So we're just gonna connect this current relay. Just have to push it a bit. Now you'll have a start capacitor. I will show how to check if this is in calibration. A common problem sometimes is you find the compressor overheating, and then you will try to start, and then you will hear, which is literally a clicking sound, and it just will not run. And then it will cool down a bit, it will try to start again, you will hear that clicking sound, and it just keeps repeating the same cycle. Now, one good indication would be the capacitor is out of calibration. So all you need is you need just a small tool to measure the capacitor and see if it's still in calibration. It's quite a common problem. So instead of ordering a brand new compressor, all you have to do is just change the capacitor. Now, 50% of the time, from my experience anyway, it works. You change the capacitor and there's still some good life in this compressor. However, there are times where you change the capacitor, compressor will run, and then after about 24 hours, 48 hours, the compressor will trip again. So we have to connect the capacitor. Do I remember this correctly? I think it goes here and here, but I shall check my wiring diagram, which hopefully I won't forget to put it on the screen when I edit this video. For our CSIR diagram, which means, the acronym means capacitor starting induction run. We've got, so our live is on my common, which, yes, will be this one. It's gonna be my common. So let's just put the live wire here. Then right one we did establish. Right, so my start is on the outlet of my capacitor that's already connected, and the neutral is gonna be on my run. So shall we switch it on? Now before I switch it on, what I need to do is lower the amperage of this fuse. So I'm gonna put a 5 amp fuse. Just click the cover back on. So quite simple. We have our live, our neutral. This is my star connection. I did connect my earth. So I think That's my discharge, and this is my suction. Let's see if I'm right. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so that's my suction. That's my discharge. So this compressor is working. Good. Now, so that means it is wired correctly. Now, what you can do on site, if it overheats and you let it cool down and then you start it again, you can measure the amps. When sometimes you will find that the compressor is pulling a lot more amps than it's supposed to. How much depends on the circumstances. So I can measure the amps either on the live or on the neutral. I'm just gonna go with my neutral first. It's pulling around 1.2 amps. That's because there's no load on the compressor. Now it's just basically pumping air. It's pulling 1.1 amp on neutral, and I do expect on live to pull exactly the same. Okay. If I close, 1.3 amps. Now let's see what happens if